Sometimes music videos, they just have visuals and it has nothing to do with the song. So the fact that all these visuals have like a lot to do with the song makes it even that much better. Like, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Kaz. We are back doing a follow-up video to the previous one with AGUST here. I don't know how to pronunciate it, man. I'm sorry. But that freaking video, top tier quality, top tier cinematography, top tier rapping. Like, that was heavy. So we are doing the DKDTV follow-up. You guys wanted me to do it, so we will. Let's get into it. So yeah, they're gonna be explaining the video, I guess, or explaining it. I kind of want to
Suga has delivered another hard-hitting mixtape titled D2. The first AGUST album, released in 2016, focused on the tough time Suga faced when he was...
Okay, now I get it. So Suga, like... Okay. I mean, you guys are probably going to explain it in the last video anyway, but I guess Suga is the name. I already knew that, but I thought that was his BTS name and AGUST was his rap name. But this guy's saying otherwise?
AGUST album, released in 2016, focused on the tough time Suga faced when he was a teenager. Suga's at a very different place now. He's much older and he's much more successful. And this album focuses on the changes of his feelings after becoming one of music's biggest superstars. It's a very honest album, and my personal favorite off of this is the title track, DAECHWITA. It's a...
DAECHWITA. Okay.
Ultimate flex track slash warning slash reminder with tons of historical references, so let's take a look into it.
It was such a sick video though. The wardrobe, the way he was acting, like it was top tier quality. And we got an ad. 50% off. Get yours today. I was joking. I put it on my Spotify already. Last video, I put it on the Spotify. I had
to. DAECHWITA is Korean traditional marching music that was played when kings or royalty were moving about, or important guests would visit, as well as when army would be marching. There are two main characters in this music video, a King Suga and a bottom class Suga. We can see that the King Suga is a tyrant. He has everyone kneeling down with the faces down in the ground. And he beheads people who have complaints in this scene. You can see the Shinmungo here. People in the Joseon dynasty would hit this drum if they...
What era is that? Like, how long ago?
They had something that they've been wronged. They'd hit this drum and the king or someone up in the hierarchy would come and sort out their problems. Except here, King Suga is killing the people who have such complaints.
So this guy's basically reenacting like real things. Obviously the video is about something, right? But sometimes music videos, they just have visuals and it has nothing to do with the song. So the fact that all these visuals have like a lot to do with the song makes it even that much better. Like,
and issues. But the bottom class Suga, with the help of BTS and army represented by the 6 other men and a woman in the scene, starts a coup. He drives up a car with the men representing BTS and also a cute painting of Bang PD. By the way, this painting has its origins in a Jungkook drawing of Bang PD. It's pretty funny. The King Suga sees this and gives a thumbs down and captures the bottom class Suga. The King Suga wants to kill him and does this graceful sword dance, which apparently Suga learned in 2 days. Meanwhile, bottom class Suga, blindfolded and tied down, starts headbanging, singing DAECHWITA. Remember how I told you that DAECHWITA was played when kings were about, or when the army would be marching?
Yeah.
The bottom class Suga singing this is an announcement that he is actually the real king. He feels like he's the king. The people under the king, the very ones that were kneeling to him in the beginning, are now joining Suga.
Wow, that's deep. That's really deep when you actually think about it, because he's talking about like when he's at like the low point, like because like the poor Suga, he feels his best. He feels like a king. That's crazy.
Headbanging with him. This DAECHWITA is also for them. These Middle people are armies marching together with the bottom class Suga. At the end, the executioner who was supposed to take down the bottom class Suga actually frees him and gives him a gun. Bottom class Suga grabs this and shoots the king.
Okay.
I think the MV and the song is a metaphor for BTS and ARMY taking down the existing system and the ruling forces of the industry.
Whoa.
The King Suga represents the system, the existing system.
That just blew my mind. That's a big conspiracy. That sounds like it can be true though. Like
of the industry. The King Suga. I think the MV and the song is a metaphor for BTS and ARMY taking down the existing system and the ruling forces of the industry. The King Suga represents the system, the existing system, the few powerful companies that had control over the industry before BTS came to the scene.
wow.
Bottom class Suga is Suga himself
breaks it down
in a
good.
small company with basically nothing, as if he was born into a bottom class, and winning the people over, eventually taking down the king with BTS and armies. I think Suga picked the perfect motif to convey his message. And if you look at the historical references, you'll be more amazed at how clever this all is. Well, this single verse has a lot to unpack, but let's just start with this line. The Joseon Dynasty, which is most likely where the song is set in, had a strict class system where there was a heavy discrimination based on which class you were born into. Slaves were not even considered human. They would be traded in cases their owners didn't have enough money, and they were thought of more as just things. Think about the mistreatment that BTS received earlier on in their careers. They faced heavy discrimination due to them being from a small company, and they were mistreated. So it's easy to understand why Suga called himself a slave here. Slaves in Joseon were almost completely blocked off from advancing to higher classes. So for a slave to become a king is basically impossible. But Suga's saying he made it happen. The following line is a reference to Kwang Hae-gun, the king of Joseon Dynasty in the 17th century. He developed paranoia while in power and notoriously became violent and reckless. Hence the line, Berserk Tiger, Kwang Hae flow. But I think there are more reasons Suga referenced Kwang Hae in the lyrics, especially if you consider what his life was like. Kwang Hae-gun had a very roller coaster of a life. Originally, he was a war hero, defending Joseon against the Japanese invasion of 1592, one of the biggest wars in Korean history.
This goes really, really deep.
His father, who was then king, had fled when the war broke out, and the 18-year-old Prince Kwang Hae led Joseon troops in the battlefield. Rarely at this time did kings or to-be kings go out into the battlefield themselves. So Kwang Hae, fighting with the people, won their hearts over, and there were movements to throne him as the king instead of his father. The father felt threatened by this, so he made a lot of political efforts to stop Kwang Hae from and there were movements to throne him as the king instead of his father. The father felt threatened by this, so he made a lot of political efforts to stop Kwang Hae from gaining influence.
That's crazy.
Eventually, Kwang Hae became stuck between two large political powers, and this struggle eventually made Kwang Hae go paranoid and become violent and reckless. Ultimately, he was dethroned.
So basically, because of that movement, that all happened.
I think Suga somewhat relates to Kwang Hae, as he himself had been through a tough adolescence, having to go out into the battlefield at an early age, just like Kwang Hae did. He was an idol.
Just like me. If you guys don't know, well, you guys would never know, obviously, but I've been on my own since I was 16 years old, so.
With no money, from a small company stuck in an industry dominated by big corporations. When Suga started winning battles and gaining power, he must felt a lot of efforts from the existing big powers to keep him away from the throne, like what Kwang Hae experienced from his father when the people wanted him to become the king.
Damn. That's like
Suga mentions putting his past in the rice chest. For many,
That's like some of the best storytelling I've seen in a song, because it's like how deep and like it just goes so deep. It's just so well put together. Like this song is crazy.
Koreans, the word Twiju or rice chest is strongly connected to the tragic story of 사도세자, which involves him dying in a rice chest. 사도세자 was the son of then King Yeongjo, and his father was extremely harsh on him, humiliating him and scolding him in front of others at a very early age. This became so severe that 사도세자 attempted to commit suicide a few times, but even then, he was treated terribly. He developed what modern doctors diagnose as bipolar disorder and began acting very violently. Eventually, the king ended up hating 사도세자 so much that he orders 사도세자 to go into a rice chest. 사도세자 went in, and he was stuck inside for 8 days, and
That's
eventually
torture. Can you imagine that? That's actually like so sad. Look, it has sad in the name. Sad. Osa. But seriously, that's like actually nuts.
starved to death. 사도세자 had a troubled life, filled with being humiliated and mistreated, and mental health issues just not being understood. Suga has been pretty open about his mental health issues he had when he was growing up, and I think he relates to 사도세자. He sees himself in him. He says he's putting his past in the rice chest. It's a declaration that he's putting the old troubled Yoongi, the 사도세자 Yoongi, behind and looking at what's ahead of him.
Sounds so sick. I really appreciate you guys for showing me this track, or like for writing it down there.
In the second verse, Suga focuses more on how he's now on the throne and he's better than everybody else. Suga directly name drops Bang PD and also takes a shot at other artists who do drugs thinking that they write better music while they're high. I won't name any names here, but I'm sure
we all know a few.
An artist or a few artists for that matter that will be at the butt end of this. Some in bigger companies, in fact.
Ooh, boy!
The diss aside, this line is also a glimpse into Bang PD's relationship with BTS. In a typical company, it'd be extremely difficult to even mention the name of your boss this openly without putting the honorifics Nim, especially considering how much a veteran and how much older Bang PD is compared to BTS. However, Suga name drops Bang PD as if he was his friend. We can sense that there is a very close bond and assume that Bang PD is very democratic with BTS. The fact that Suga is talking of Bang PD so casually is a flex of its own to others, as it's a sign that BTS has become so big and valuable to the company that he's at level with Bang PD. Now this is an interesting bit. Here Suga uses the Korean word 현타. Hentai is an interesting Korean slang that is used all around the internet. Directly translated as wise man's time, it is a word to describe the feeling you get right after you've ejaculated, yes, ejaculated, and you feel no more sexual urges, and you have a moment of clarity.
Wow, I did not see that going there. He said wise man's time and then talked about ejaculating.
It is a word to describe the feeling you get right after you've ejaculated, yes, ejaculated, and you feel no more sexual urges, and you have a moment of clarity in your brain. You feel still, present, and sometimes disappointed that the short moment of satisfaction was all you got, and you worked so hard for it. This slang originated from Japan, but it has become a staple in Korean everyday
Is this a PG? Is this rated? Oh, I don't even know if you guys know what that is, but it's parental guidance. It's people under 13 cannot watch.
Language, and it is widely used in everyday life outside of sexual situations. Usually in situations when you finally got what you dearly wanted and you wonder, that was it? Suga's saying he's feeling extreme hyunta because he has it all. He has money, he has clothes, he has everything he ever wanted, and there's nothing, no one above him. While this could be considered a small cry for help, I think within the context of this song, it's more of a hard flex. He's saying, Others can
Yeah, that can go either way. I mean, you can look at it like you can have everything in the world and still be sad. Or as a flex, like what he's saying. I don't know. Which one do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.
only dream of what I have, but now I got everything and I feel bored and disappointed. But you won't know how I feel because you never had any of this.
That's so deep. This is a deep song. For like what it is, that's crazy.
BTS has been on the top for the past few years, absolutely dominating, with a level of popularity that has never been seen in K-pop before. They're so dominant that it's sometimes easy to forget that they too had humble beginnings. In fact, more humble than most top artists out now today.
Oh yeah.
They had to fight their way through discrimination.
The introduction to BTS, like explaining, like Taylor's version of it, explaining all the members, like I needed to see that, and you guys were right, because it really opened my eyes to how they are as people, you know, and so you don't prejudge them. And excuse me. I think like a lot of people prejudge regardless, like all the time. So it's kind of good to have information, you know, that's positive information, obviously. Because it just kind of paints a different picture for you when you actually do watch different videos and stuff. So
Mistreatment and humiliation. DAECHWITA is a reminder that this was where they started.
Yep.
And they took that system
it's like
down.
Drake started from the bottom, now we're here.
That they had the resilience and the force to go through all of this, to go from slave to king.
For what they went through, they're super humble.
More videos like this supporting.
That was a good video, guys. Yeah, I mean, he explained it so well. Like, because when I first watched the video, like, I don't really have any idea what's going on. You know what I mean? I'm trying to read it, trying to understand it, but I'm processing so many things at once. So it's like, like a video like that, like to understand it, yeah, you would have to sit down and kind of dissect it and break it down. Because being able to do that through one go, if you can do that, like, skilled, obviously. But I don't know too much about that side of things, right? So either way, guys, let me know what videos you want me to do in the comments. If you liked the video, drop a like. And if you want to subscribe and continue watching these, do that as well. Anyway, see you in the next one. Peace.